Hello, Yawning Angel here, and I've got a hankering to play Elite in 3D on the BBC Master. Elite 3D on the BBC Master is the brainchild of Mr. Mark Moxon, and there will be a link down below to his website where he explains about how Elite 3D came about, where to get it from, how to play it, how to configure it for your machine. It's worth checking out. So massive thanks to Mark Moxon for doing it. So with all that said, let's get on and play the game. But in order to do that, we're going to need a BBC Master 128 computer, a 6502 second processor unit, a method of connecting the processor to the BBC Master, in this instance a ribbon cable, a pair of 3D glasses, or how about these, a pair of 3D glasses. Not quite. How about a pair of clip-on 3D lenses, or how about this pair of clip-on 3D lenses? Now we need to fit the ribbon cable to the 6502 second processor unit. And you'll notice there's a groove up here on the edge connector, and that groove has to line up with that slot there in the connector on the actual unit itself. So you can't get this the wrong way round, and it is just a case of gently lining it up and pressing it in so the clamps at the side come into play and hold it fast. Take your time with this and don't rush it. Next up, flip the BBC Master over and connect the other end of that ribbon cable into the tube socket. So it's just a case of lining this groove up here with the corresponding slot on the connector. So you just slide it in, well, line it up first, slide it in, and those clamps at the side will come into play and lock that cable in place. Easy. But first, a quick word about 3D comics from the 1980s. Now, my introduction into blue-green 3D would have come in the form of comics like this in the 1980s. This issue of Eagle did a 3D special, and this particular comic would have come with a set of 3D glasses like this. Now, these aren't the original versions of these glasses. They command quite a high price on eBay. I got this comic without the glasses and only picked it up for a few pennies, so that wasn't too bad. So using the supplied 3D glasses on features like this in the comic were really impressive to a child growing up in the 80s. The pictures really came alive and really stood up out of the page. It was really, really impressive. I'm telling you, these simple glasses did a really great job. This issue did a comic strip called Codename Scorpio, which was presented in the red-green 3D style. It was okay, although I'm not sure whether you were just reading it for the 3D effect and not the actual story itself. And take a look at this picture. It would seem that you can actually touch Manchester United in 3D. Not too sure I want to do that. And on a completely unrelated note, have a look at these pocket games. Only $6.99 plus 3 battery wrappers. How good is that? Did anyone ever get any of these? I know I didn't. Always wanted one though, but never actually got one. Now, as you know, I wear spectacles. So using this cardboard acetate type of 3D glass affair was not going to work with these glasses. So to this end, I opted for a pair of wraparound 3D glasses that would maybe go over my existing lenses. They were very uncomfortable and didn't work at all. So I opted for some clip-on 3D glasses, and I went for these first off. And while they were okay, the blue lens was a bit too dark. So I went for this pair of clip-on lenses instead with a slightly lighter blue than the previous. And this configuration seemed to work all right. Right then, got the BBC Master fired up, so I need to switch to my MMFS file system because I've got a disk image on there that has Elite 3D on it. There are other ways of loading this and details are available on Mark Moxon's website. Right, so let's go MMFS. I need to do star disk in 0, 330 is the position I have that image. Brilliant. Now if I do shift break, nothing happens. Shift break, there we go. And there it is, it's loaded. And as you can see, the Cobra there is spinning away. It's cyan and red. That's the 3D colors that are in play here. But what Mark Moxon has done, he's actually put a configuration screen in this program. So we can now switch to the configuration screen and play around with some of the 3D settings before we dive in and play the game. So that's pretty cool. So let's do that now. Also, I need to put on some 3D glasses. Right. 3D lenses on. I've got to admit, this is really strange trying to film this. Got a quick caveat here. If the actual screen capture footage of Elite is looking a bit choppy on video, it's just because of my screen capture card is making it look a little bit choppy. It is actually a lot smoother in real life, so I just want to say that. I also want to say that trying to film this is a bit of a challenge because I've got red, blue lenses on and I've got lighting in front of me and I'm trying to see a keyboard and recording equipment. So I make apologies in advance for anything that seems a bit choppy. Right, let's get into that configuration screen. So with the game loaded, you just press F0 and you should get into this configuration screen. Now, if you're not used to wearing 3D lenses, this is a good screen to get on and get your eyes to adjust to the 3D effect. So I'm looking at that screen at the moment, and as you can see, we've got in the top right-hand corner a sort of a planet. Then to the left of that, we've got a space station. And then after that, going across left, across the top of the screen, we've got some ships. If we come down to the bottom left-hand corner and loop back up, we've got different ships. And then we've got a cargo pod there. Now, you're not going to get this effect, obviously, because this is on video. But for me, as I'm looking at that screen, the top right-hand corner, that planet is flat, absolutely flat as a pancake. But then I get to the space station and it starts to lift out of the screen. And all the ships lift out a little bit further each time. So it's as if they're kind of coming out and round and back up. And it's like I know it sounds a bit trite, but I could actually reach in and touch them. It's quite an impressive effect, I must admit. Something, obviously, some of you would have noticed that the control panel at the bottom, the heads-up display there is flat. That is not 3D. It is just the ships, and the stars as well have the 3D effect on them. So this can be configured, and Mark has included ways to configure it and change the 3D effect based on different 3D lenses that you might be using. So let's take a quick look at those. Right, so the configuration. So bear with me, I have to read some stuff here because I can't remember all of this. So we're looking at these ships now. So if we press P, this will toggle us through the different 3D sort of modes. So we've pressed F0, now we do the configuration. Please bear with me, I'm reading this off of a screen down here on my iPad. So the first view we've got is if your left eye is red, right eye is cyan, it should show white for both eyes. And that, I'm looking at that with these lenses, and yet that screen is looking kind of white. The next mode, so if I press P, that should change. Has that changed? No, let's try it again. Yeah, so this one is left eye red, right eye blue, and this should show magenta for both eyes. Kind of magenta-ish, but then obviously I've got a slightly more cyan lens rather than blue. If we press it again, we should see yellow. So this is for left eye red, right eye green. It shows yellow for both eyes. So as I'm going through this, the 3D effect is changing, but for me, the first configuration seems to be the best one because of the lenses I have. If we press it again, no, let's see what that did. So left eye green, right eye red. It still shows yellow, but once again, oh yeah, so for me now, that's gone completely flat. That is not working with these lenses at all. And if we toggle again, we come back, so this is left eye green, right eye magenta, and it shows white for both eyes. And it is absolutely doing that, but with these lenses it's not working, so the image is very, very flat. So if I press P again, we should get, we're back now to the left eye red, right eye cyan, and that 3D effect is there for me. So depending on the nature of your lenses, you've got quite a lot of choice basically, and the game can be configured to work with different lenses. Awesome. Right, so there are some other elements of configuration that we can play around with. So we can increase and decrease the eye spacing on the ship. So left arrow decreases the spacing. So this is just shifting the lines, the distance between the cyan and the red. Once again, this is one of those things you think, is this actually making a difference? I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you know, it's interesting. So left and right, and that is denoted on the speed indicator. So if you look down at the HUD, you'll see the speed indicator increases as I move up with the right arrow and decreases down as I move with the left. And also I'm looking at this and just looking at that 3D effect, and it is having an effect on the distance on the ships. If I use the up and down arrows, that moves the projection, well, moving up moves the projection plane away. Moving it with the down arrow moves the projection plane towards us. So, and these are shown on the bottom right of the dashboard. So this will be on the energy cell 4 indicator. So is this making any difference? Can you see things changing? And this is the thing with this type of 3D. It's very subjective because all our eyes are different and we all perceive things at different depths. So is this making a difference? It's something you could play around with quite a lot. It's an interesting effect. Once again, a lot of configuration on here to help you get the best out of this game. So that's really good. What else have we got on here? If we press D, the D key, it cycles through 3 levels of parallax, i.e. the depth of field, or you can disable this altogether. So the setting is shown by the number of missiles indicator. So if we go to the bottom left of the screen, if I press D, you can see this changes. And so that's disabled altogether. And now the screen is completely flat for me. If I press it again, and now we start to bring back an element of 3D-ish. So actually for me, on setting 3, that kind of works. Although it's gone a little bit weird, I'm going to need to play around with this, the distance and the spacing again. So let me go away and do that, and then we'll dive on into the game and check it out. Right, here I am now in the game, and we're going to launch out in a minute, but I had to get a cup of tea first. Yeah, good cup of tea that. Today in the RMC Cave Dwellers mug. By the way, as a quick aside, I don't know if you knew, but the Retro Collective, so that's Neil, Richard, Holly and the gang, have got a electronic bundle which you can buy from the Retro Collective store, which includes electronic books, some games, exclusive videos from some other YouTubers. You can download that. Well, you pay a price for it, download it, and the money that they're raising from the sale of those bundles is going towards expansions and improvements and enhancements at the cave to make it more, bigger, better, longer, faster, harder, all those great things. So there'll be a link in the description down below. There might be one on the screen now as well, but do go and check it out. I'm not being paid to say anything. It's just a worthy cause and it benefits the community. So give that a look in. Great. Right, another mouthful of tea. And we are good to go. Gingerly put the cup down between lots of cables. Right, so we here now are in the standard Elite menu system. So nothing in here is in 3D. This is all standard stuff. So if we go into buy cargo, that is not in 3D. Sell cargo, it's not in 3D. I've already bought some food because why wouldn't you? Ship equipment menu there, it's all the same. Our charts are not in 3D. Short range chart, I've already chosen to go to Zeonce. Like I said, this is just going to be a quick fly around in the game because I appreciate none of you have access to the 3D features, so this will be a very boring video and very tiring on your eyes if you have to watch a 3D game that only I can see. So all of this stuff here is exactly as it always has been. Right, so I am clean and harmless on this version of Elite. On my Spectrum version, which I'm working my way through, that's slightly different. Right, let's now get ready to launch. So here we go, and we're going to launch. So we've got some 3D effects here. So the planet as we come out is rotating. It's kind of 3D. The only issue I have here is that I've got no point of reference behind it. So the stars have got the 3D effect as well. And is it a star field that is rushing towards you and you feel you're just being dragged into the screen? If I had to be honest, no. But you know, that your mileage may vary. Like I said, all our eyes are different. We all see this type of 3D in different ways. So what we're going to do now is just turn around to take a look at the station, and then we'll hyperspace our way off to Zeonce. Right, so I've decelerated. So let's rotate this round. And quickly, there should be, oh, what's that? That's the space station. I have actually flown away some way from the station. So let's accelerate up. Space to accelerate. Let's move on in. Am I getting a rushing 3D effect here? So if I had to be honest, no. I'm finding the glasses quite uncomfortable to wear. But there's the station. And we don't want to get too close because obviously there'll be stuff coming out. But let's slow down a bit. So is that 3D for us? Is that giving us a full 3D effect? Let me take my glasses off. So it has definitely got the right coloured lines around it. I'd say yes, it does feel a little bit separated from the screen, but yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad. Right, let's flick around and now hyperspace our way to our next destination. So let's see what happens here. Oh, and as you roll round to that planet, it is a little bit flickery on the eyes. I do have to say here very quickly, the aspect ratio, you're probably looking at the screen thinking, why is that a bit flat and squashed and widescreen? My video capture won't allow me to put it onto a decent 4:3 aspect ratio. On my TV it's fine, but the video capture won't pick it up as a 4:3, so it looks a little bit wide. I do apologise for that, but you get the idea. Okay, hyperspace to Zeonce. Let's go. Fire button on standby, because I think we'll probably get ganked as soon as we get there. Here we go. 4 seconds. 1 second. Very quick hyperspace. Let's get up to speed and line ourselves up. Right, here we go. So flying along then, you've got the effect of the star field coming in. Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of 3D-ish, I think is the best way I can describe it. But you know, it hacks along at an acceptable rate. This is not unplayable, you know, there is movement. So we just need to obviously now make our way to the planet and get to the space station and try and dock. Watch this space. Okay. Oh, I'm being shot at. Okay, combat's happening. Okay. I'm going to die. Game over. That was incredibly unpleasant. Yes, so there's the thing. When you get into combat, you're trying to work out what's going on. And the 3D effect, am I getting the 3D effect in combat? Probably not. It does make trying to focus on items on the screen a little bit more challenging. And also I'm completely hopeless at combat on the BBC Elite version because I am just rubbish. Right, so following on from that abysmal showing, I've started again. We're flying to Listi now, and I've got into the game. I've done the hyperspace, so there's another ship coming up. So let me unpause the game. And that ship went by very quickly. This is going really well. This is very difficult to get accurate eyes on. And I think I've destroyed that one. Good, there's one down. Right, come on then, who's next? Who's next? Who wants some? I will say combat is quite tricky. I mean, it's tricky anyway on the Beeb, but when you're trying to line yourself up with oncoming ships from the radar, it's difficult to spot them. Right, what's going on over here? The trouble is now, are all of these enemy ships? Let's try, what's this? Come on. Oh, no. That's just cargo. That is just cargo. Now, am I getting a 3D effect on that? I am actually. It is kind of floating on the screen. It does look a bit floaty and a bit detached from the screen. Let's get rid of that. So the question is, am I getting that 3D effect? And yes and no is the real answer here. So, are those ships 3D-ish? I mean, there's a lot of flickering going on. That could be a combination of my glasses, the 3D lenses, and my screen. Come on, no you don't. No you don't, you're not getting away from me. I don't have ECM. I don't have any ECM. But I got that guy. Oh, energy low. Yeah, I know. There's no need to tell me that energy is low. I know my energy is low. Thanks for beeping at me. That's really helping. Energy low again. Oh, game over again. This is hard work. This is hard work. But with the game over bit, as everything goes away, you can see there's that 3D effect. And it's kind of cute, but it's hard work. Right, very quickly, let's get the ship launched. And what I'm going to do is see if I can dock, to show you the docking procedure, if that will at all work for me. So let's turn the ship around. Turn the ship around. Oh, yeah. So here we go. Back. There should be a space station here. There it is. Whoa! Is that 3D for you? I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I can see it in white, and I can see it spinning. I'm not sure, really. It does feel a little bit separated from the screen. So I cannot dock for toffee. I am Mr. Docking Computers usually. Come on, don't too wide. That went well. Yawning Angel, you are hopeless at docking, which is why on the specky version of this game, I've got the docking computers. And that is it for this video. I hope you found it interesting and maybe have got some use from it. Now, at least you know what Elite 3D looks like on the BBC Master. To be honest, the game is fun for a short time. I found it quite tiring on the eyes, so I can't see myself playing this long term, moving from mission to mission, planet to planet, doing all the trading that you normally do in Elite. It will get very tiring on the eyes very quickly and probably give you a bit of a headache. This is more of a novelty version of Elite, and I do not mean that in a derogatory way, because quite clearly a lot of time and effort has gone into programming on this. But it is just one of those games you'll fire up maybe to show your friends, look, Elite 3D on an 8-bit micro, how cool is that? And it is cool, don't get me wrong. It is just, your eyes will become very tired very quickly. It does become a lot of hard work. I found myself focusing on trying to see things in 3D within the game rather than playing the game itself. But do have a look at it, do download it, check it out. If you've got a second processor on your BBC Master, it's worth a look, definitely. And thank you to Mark Moxon for doing this. It's amazing. So that pretty much wraps it up for my 3D Elite journey on the BBC Master. I may do some more stuff going forward on the second processor unit, But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching, take care of yourselves and keep it retro.